Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sippin and Selling.
With Joey Chanel. Welcome back to a very special episode of Sippin and Selling. Today, I'm getting ready for the 420 season. I'm going to have on a new friend, Jamal Meese Weathers, to explain everything about the cannabis industry. And I want to talk about how it's coming into my industry, the spirits industry. Welcome to the show, Jamal.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Respect.
Thank
Positive
you.
too. This Wednesday today.
That's right. And your company is called Kush Boys. You sent me this gorgeous little
Correct.
hoodie.
Yeah, you got on that Kush Boys drip.
I like it. I feel very fancy. The drip is good for me.
It looks good on you.
Thank you. And I like your pink municipal sweatshirt.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So like I explained to you, I wanted to get a cannabis expert on the show. Your brand came up a couple times through different connections that we have, mutual ones. And I wanted to talk about it because I don't know much about the industry, like I shared with you. And there's definitely been a stigma. And there's some similarities with the spirits world, right? Because we had prohibition. And
Absolutely.
I feel like now you guys and your industry is blending into the spirits world. And there's still some people that are kind of like, is it legal? They're not sure. And I think we have to start with the history of the cannabis industry. So I wanted you to be my guest.
Amazing.
So how did you get into the business?
I've been in the business for quite a long time. I've always been connected to cannabis, probably since I was in the ninth grade. It's kind of when I, was on the streets and started to solicit cannabis. It was at a much different level, and even when I came out of college and I was in Atlanta, there was a few new strains, and Chronic had hit the streets, and Chocolate Thai hit the streets. So I've always been just an avid cannabis user, as well as everything it was doing in the culture. And in about '05, a partner and myself came up with a cool name once, Kush hit the streets, and we looked at it through a different lens in terms of all the ancillary businesses and different verticals that could come out of cannabis while it wasn't legal still.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of one of the fourth front runners in terms of where the business was at the time, and knew how to make it look cool and acceptable when a lot of people were still not willing to say that they were cannabis users, or because of other businesses they were involved in, didn't want any association with it. And so in that, we have a lot of, relationships and resources, various from entertainment through legal and political relationships. And we were kind of, just keeping our eyes and ears open as lobbyists were going around, and we were starting, to get a lot of the laws changed. And so we just stayed in it, and we've been able to sustain the brand on, give the culture a lot of different experiences on a lot of different levels.
Right. And it's over 20 years now if you started in
Yes.
2005. So that's impressive. And like I said,
hmm
your name came around. So in the beginning, when you were able to follow along with when it was legal, what was the first move? Did you guys have a dispensary? Did you sell to the dispensary?
No,
Okay.
no. Our first move is we had a partnership, which funny, with Hearst Media and the San Francisco Cisco Chronicle.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny about that is William Hearst is probably the front runner who was against cannabis uh, years ago to make it non-legal. And they reached out to us and saw some of the things we were doing, were quite impressed. And so we came up with a news blog
Mm-hmm.
called Smell the Truth. And so we did that with the San Francisco Chronicle and Hearst Media. And then we also had, clothing. I was very instrumental in helping Cheech and Chong get back together. They didn't speak for 21 years.
Wow.
Tommy came to me and was telling me what the plan was going forward, and his son Paris was working on on trying to make this happen as well. I did a favor for Tommy's daughter, Ray Dawn, and we just became like really cool friends. And for Tommy's 70th birthday, Cheech came over to his house, uh, and we just all united. And my partner and I, Drew, we had a clothing line, and we did the first Cheech and Chong designs T-shirts when they got back together, and did a deal with Live Nation, and we broke a lot of records in terms of how much product we were selling. So we kind of were doing a lot of things outside of selling the product while it wasn't legal, right? And then I was a part of a group that Southern Wine and Spirits owners, the Ruvos, helped. We had a farm in Winchester, Kentucky, that was all CBD, and that came from a story that Sanjay Gupta did on CNN of a little girl named Charlotte who was facing very intense and aggressive epilepsy challenges, right? And so this particular strain they did a story on, and we grew. The farm was yielding from 5 to 700 million annually,
Mm-hmm.
and again that was all CBD. That was from a special law that was changed by Mitch McConnell over there at an old tobacco farm. And then during that time, the conversations and uh, different cities and states started to legalize either medically, and it took a while for recreational.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we had a group and we owned a dispensary. We was able to get a license in the Berkeley area, Berkeley, California, and we opened up a dispensary in Berkeley, California, with a 70-year-old lady named Sue Taylor, who was once a high school principal. She started to learn about the cannabis industry, and she started to teach a lot of the elderly community the benefits of cannabis. And so, we've been in it, just chucking away. We sold our dispensary about 6 years ago, and we still own the real estate parking there. But right now, we just have our brand in various stores, dispensaries. Our distribution is located in Sacramento, and we also have a distribution hub in Van Nuys, California.
Amazing. So let's, first of all, so many amazing things that you just brought up, and what a diverse group, right? To be with the 7-year-old, and then you kind of touched on the epileptic child, but you didn't say more. So that farm, did you help like give her some sort of CBD treatments through your
Well,
product?
yeah,
Okay.
we provided her with the strain. Like I said, CNN did a story. You can pull it up. Sanjay Gupta.
Okay.
It's called Charlotte's Web. Was the
Oh,
name of the strain. It was named after this little girl, Charlotte.
wow.
So you can Google that and see the little girl was having anywhere from 150 to 300 seizures weekly, and this particular CBD strain began to help her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially in the delivery form that it was in, the delivery system.
Mm-hmm.
And so that brought a lot of attention to CBD as well, which is a different compound from the cannabis plant, which has many different effects, especially if you combine it with CBN or CBA or THC. The THC, the CBD will act as an agent,
Mm-hmm.
find wherever the problem is in the body, and the THC helps come and attack the pain. And
Amazing.
it usually helps with a lot of inflammation in the body. Every human being are born with CBD receptors in the body. So
Okay.
that's also, yeah.
It's interesting, right? Because the stigma, we're trying to break it for my listeners and viewers that don't know this world, and the ones that do, that also may feel still like a little bit, it's taboo. I want to break it because multiple states it's legalized now. And I feel like still sometimes, even recently, my producer and I were out and we were walking up to someone on the beach and they were smoking, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
some people were like, what are you doing? Because people don't really keep up with it if they're not in the industry, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny to me because there's so many medicinal treatments that it's great and used for. And my own father is a user and loves to participate in helping his health. And there's other people that are elderly as well, or wounded warriors and, PTSD, you know what I mean? Like they're having that issue. And
For sure.
there's so many benefits. And it feels like, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but it feels like, the medical industry as a whole has been holding on to this almost, right? Like it's a secret
For
because,
sure.
right? Because
For sure.
it ruins their industry, pharma, big pharma. So
Absolutely.
it's nice to hear that finally it's getting a little peak and a window opening because it can help so many people. And I think that's the part that I wanted to talk about with you because it's coming into my world and people are
Mhm.
putting it in seltzers and people are putting it in different types of drinks. And my father himself, we have a rum with hemp infusion. So it's coming, and I feel like there's a placement for it, and it's interesting to hear about all your beautiful partnerships because they are through all different walks of life, and there's so many benefits from cannabis. And I feel like people just have a bad taste in their mouth because it was illegal. And if I remember the story correctly, the reason why it was illegal was off false information too, which is unfortunate, and that happens.
Yeah.
So okay, so it gets legal. You sold your dispensary, and now your product is distributed in how many markets?
California currently and New York. Thing too is like you have to read the room. There's been so many people that looked at the cannabis industry as a get rich overnight business.
Right.
And there was a lot of people that got in the cannabis industry that may have been street dealers and don't know how to transition into the corporate world, who don't understand, gap audited financials, who don't know how to go out to raise capital for the business, who don't, understand operations. It's,
Yeah.
a lot of people think branding and I can just, come up with a good name and nah, you know what I mean? You have to understand the difference between the jockey and the horse. And if you don't have the right jockey, if you don't have the right operators and management, there's been a lot of clipped airplane wings, and
Mhm.
you will fail. And we've always been able to um, watch our scale as we go along our journey, and we haven't failed. You know what I mean? We still have a footprint, and it's not an overnight play for us. So we always, it's in us, not on us, and
Right.
we live it every day. So that's the difference. It's a very tough business. A lot of people haven't been able to survive because they're very high tax,
Mm.
the tax issues, and then the profit margins, change, right? So they're still trying to fine tune the business, but it was the same way, in the beginning for alcohol.
Mhm.
And the reason why it is coming into the alcohol business is because most alcohols and soft drink companies, they have a chokehold on distribution and bottling,
Right.
and they have different SOPs in place that they know once this thing does get rescheduled and is federally legal, then they will be able to just plug and play actually. You know what I mean? So definitely, there are already some alcohol conglomerates in the cannabis industry. Yeah, they'll be in it from Budweiser to Corona. I mean, I don't see many companies that won't be. Amazon, I'm sure, is getting ready. They have a bunch of distribution and different SOPs in place. So that's just where it's going.
Are you going to think about getting into that side of the business?
What's up? I'm always open for any business if it makes
Opportunity?
sense.
Yeah.
So it just depends. And I'm a guy who um I keep a diverse kind of world in my business period. So there's a lot that comes through my intersection. And if it's not for me, I may have a relationship or a resource for it. So it depends.
Right. What else are you up to? I know you're very spiritual. I've been following your stories. That's important to you, correct?
Yes, yes. Every day. I mean, that's every day we get up, it's a blessing. And the way we're programmed, we're always, getting up to rush for something else or things that we think are important or to gain monetary value. And if you don't give time to yourself, to armor yourself correctly as you go out into the world, you can have some challenging days. And I'm a person that is always around a lot of different energy or people trying to take energy from me. So I just think it's important that I give myself every day some sort of me time, so I can move forward.
Yeah, of course. Your energy is expensive. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you have to refuel, right? And charge your battery.
Yeah. We're always looking for a charger for our phones and we never look for a charger to reboot ourselves. So
That's
that's
right.
important.
I agree. I like that. So,
hmm
what else are you up to? And I know, but I'm asking for the audience. What else are you?
I'm um I'm a strategic partner in the Marathon brand. So currently we're scaling Marathon Burger. We have Marathon Clothing. We have the next Nipsey Hussle documentary coming to market. I'm also involved with some business with my guy Mark Wahlberg and the Municipal brand. Keep our hands in philanthropic work. So, we love staying in the spirit of service and not acquisition. So, I'm always busy. I have different eggs in different baskets, but yeah, that's about it. We have the Kush Boys drip clothing line, and then I'm also involved in several music projects with the production group called the Goodfellas. So, yeah,
Nice. And didn't you used to act?
correct. I still act.
You do? Talk to me
Yeah.
about that.
Once an actor, always an actor.
Oh,
That's
okay.
my background. My father was an actor and did a lot of movies.
Really?
Started in films in the '70s, and
Amazing.
so was a part of a big workshop called PASLA,
Okay.
Performing Arts Society of Los Angeles. So he and my mother were into that when I was born. My godfather was a prominent actor and director.
Amazing.
Played on some huge TV shows, The Love Boat and Fall Guy, and a bunch of things. So naturally, I was born into entertainment,
Mhm.
um, and always just kind of had the entrepreneurial bug. But that's another business too. You have to read the room, and you can become very lethargic. Chasing your tail, because it's like 5-10% talent and 90% business, right? So
Right.
just being able to preserve yourself and not burn yourself out or have to compromise who you are to gain, you know what I mean? I'm pretty much in control of my own destiny. I don't work for anyone. So I can make choices on my own.
Right. And it's a gift. It's amazing to be an entrepreneur. It's amazing to have your hands in a lot of different places. I've always wondered because my sister and I grew up, acting and singing and dancing. And I always wonder about people that grew up in a home where it was actually encouraged to do it as a career, right? And like you had two different generations in that industry, which is
Yeah.
similar to me, but I was in the spirits business back to
You see a
bootlegging.
lot of ups. You see a lot of ups and downs. You see a
Yeah.
lot of up and downs. You see a lot of behavior that comes, out of entertainment. It's the social environment. It's the norm. From alcoholism to drugs
Mm-hmm.
to compromising sexual positions. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to overcome and endure. A lot of people don't think about all of that. They just think about, I want to be successful or I want to be on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a lot more to it. And again, I've been fortunate to see a lot of things where I can make certain decisions of how, I wanted to see myself, you know, um, as an older gentleman, as an elder gentleman. If I'm blessed to have grandchildren or to my children, I don't want I don't want that type of smut on my soul.
Right.
So
It makes
that's
sense.
yeah,
You want to leave a lasting legacy that you can be proud of, right?
yeah,
And like you said,
yeah,
you're a father. Do you
yeah.
think that your daughter's going to want to go into acting?
Not at all.
No?
No, she wants to be an architect.
Oh, wow. Is that a
Yeah.
business you've touched yet?
No, it's not a business I've touched.
Okay.
I have a lot of friends who are in that business, but
Right.
no, she's a visual artist and she wants to be an architect.
Nice.
So I'm eager to see, that's what she's saying now. Who knows what direction she may go in?
How old is she? 16?
She's 16, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, she could change. You never know. Did
Hmm.
she ever help you with anything? Did she ever draw up any designs for any of your companies?
No, no
No.
designs.
Oh,
She has a lot of nice pieces though that she does. Maybe she'll give me one. I
that
could
would be
frank.
nice.
Yeah, she has a lot of work. Her aunt just bought a piece from her for like $250. It's a nice piece too. She did a
Wow.
Golden Gate Bridge. So yeah,
Amazing.
but they're really smart and she's very supportive. You know what I mean? That's another kind of like healing aspect to my soul or my temperament.
Yeah, of
So
course. It's a
yeah,
blessing to be a parent.
for
And how
sure.
beautiful. She's already doing a little bit of the entrepreneurial spirit, selling her
Yeah,
her art.
absolutely.
That's amazing. So
Hmm.
Kush Boys is available in California and New York. And is the goal eventually when other states make it legal? Are you going to go into there? Or you're just going to wait and see what happens? You have no plan.
Yeah, well, I've also been very instrumental in a lot of other brands and doing some strategic and substantial work on other big brands in the business, and so I kind of have my ear to the street to kind of pay attention to the different markets, right? And you don't want to saturate yourself, right? Sometimes too much circulation makes the price go down.
Okay.
So as of right now, we're just sustaining in California. We're doing some collabs. I have a collab coming out 420 with Cali Plug, who is like a little brother, and he's been doing quite well here in California. He has a lot of street credibility,
Okay.
which is important because you stay in touch with the millennials and the younger Gen Z and things of that nature. So we are doing some nice collabs, and we'll probably be doing a couple like pop-up events.
That's cool. So
Hmm.
let's dumb down your industry for those of us that don't know. So the flower can produce I'm tell me where I'm missing things. The CBD, the THC, the hemp, and then there's all the other CBNs and all the stuff you were
Correct.
saying.
There are different compounds within the cannabis plant, but yeah,
Okay.
in
And
the dispensaries you'll find THC, you'll find indica,
mhm.
hybrid, or sativa.
Okay.
Um, and then you'll find different delivery systems, like you might find extracts, which are like wax or
What would you do with the
oil.
wax?
They smoke the wax.
You
Like
smoke
you
it.
would put it in a pipe where they have dab machines. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a pretty intense high.
Crazy. So the only other form that obviously is so popular nowadays are the vapes. And I hear that, most people who are cannabis enthusiasts don't
Hmm.
love the vapes because they said they don't know what they're actually getting in there. Is
That's
that
correct.
okay? Um,
There's a lot of people like to vape. You'll find more women like to vape than men, but there's a lot of men that love to vape as well. You know what I mean? And a lot of people will like to vape because in certain places, the smell is heavy on the fingers, on the hands, and so vaping is much more clean in that aspect.
right. Okay, so you were talking about Kush. Kush came around. That's where you got your name from. These names that are well known, the Kush and the Chronic and all the other ones that you were naming, is that a specific type of strain or is it like a cross pollination? Is
Yeah,
it
Kush is a certain strain. We got it from OG Kush, and
okay?
it's probably the most potent indica on the market, right? And a lot of people who smoke more heavy
Yeah.
would love a Kush. You know what I mean? Right now on the market, they have what's called Zaz. which is short for exotics.
Okay.
And people love the exotics because they're smoking really strong like Kush, but they have colors and the tastes are really tasty. So yeah, it's a very flavorful market right now.
How many different weed brands do you think there are out there?
Whew. Uh,
Over 10,000? Yeah?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
sugar. That's crazy. And
I
how
think so.
and if you're going to be able to be selling at a dispensary, do you have to have a different type of license, or how do you get vetted to do that?
You have to have licensing. Everything is licensing. To distribute, you have to have a distribution license. Um, dispensary license.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to have license all around the board. To do extracts, you have to have a manufacturing license. So yeah, it's license.
And all the medicinal ones that come in the mail for like people who have a card and all of that, they come from a dispensary around the area usually, and that is vetted through those licensing, I'm guessing.
Well, initially, you mean to get a dispensary card?
Yeah, like how does it work for someone who has
You go see a
cancer?
doctor and they give you what's called a rec.
Okay.
So a doctor writes out the script for you,
Okay.
and then that enables you to go get the license so you can go into the dispensary.
And then they go into like a candy store and they don't really know where to
Yeah,
begin.
but now you can just go in if you have an ID, you're 21 and over. Like
Okay.
if you came out here and you went to a dispensary, they're just gonna ask you for your ID at the door, and you can
Okay.
go in.
Okay. See,
Hmm.
I don't know that. So thank you for telling me. And
Hmm.
everybody, also about the stigma, right? Like most people, if you see movies and all of that, smoking makes you happy. It's fun. There's great movies around it. Everybody thinks it's a good time. And then there's the people that will disagree, like a small percentage, right? Like they're like, we had a bad trip because we ate brownies or had a bad gummy or whatever,
Now
right?
that's a what I mean. I was gonna say I haven't really heard anyone that complained about cannabis or frowned upon it, the smoking. But yeah, if you're not a avid cannabis user,
Yeah,
and you go and eat a brownie and you think it tastes good and you think it's not doing anything,
right.
the onset may take a while, but you're gonna be super fucked up
Yeah.
because your tolerance is not that high. A lot of people do it with the gummies as well. You have to understand what the
Potency
how
is.
much the potency and how many milligrams is you know you can get really, really. That's the only thing is the ingesting, but smoking. There's never been any issues with people smoking. You
Right.
know what I mean? But the edibles are serious if you don't
Yeah.
know what you're doing,
A
for
thousand
sure.
percent. And they're high, right? Like some people sell 1,000 milligram
You
gummies.
get really, 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 really paranoid
Oh,
because you don't know you never felt that in the body like that, and you can't control it. You want it to stop, and you can't. And most people panic
yeah. It's like get off the roller coaster.
for sure.
Terrible. Who wants to feel out of control? Not me. I'm so type A. I like to be in control. That's probably why I
Sure.
wasn't an avid cannabis user. So the stigma, like I said, has a few things here and there. And I wanted to break down the barriers from my 420 episode. And like I said, a lot of the brands that have come across my desk that are now going into the THC and CBD drinks, they did come from your world. They have farms. They said like what you were talking about. Now it's just so hard and there's so many different brands. And so they just decided to go into this field. And there's a set up distribution network, right? If they've met someone like me, I already sell to all the chains nationally. So if they want to partner with me, I could probably help them. And it's a new source of income. But a lot of the brands that I've met with made a few mistakes. Either they didn't have age statements, so it could get into the wrong hands, like young children, right?
Hmm.
Or they did a high milligram, or they didn't do the right liner in the can. So there's been a lot of flops. And then there's been some winners that have been great too. And it's just so interesting to me because on the alcohol side, people are not that happy. They're afraid it's going to take away from their business because the industry, everybody's talking about it going down.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about this on another episode where most people who are smoking or are participating with some sort of THC product, they're happy. And they're not waking up with a hangover the next day. So,
Right.
so some people in my industry are concerned that, they're going to lose a lot of placements because of this new category. Do you feel like because of this, that's the same question to you basically. Do you feel like because a lot of these brands are going into the drink space, do you feel like you're going to lose some business?
No, we have a drink, and we had a drink again. We're one of the front runners, and we put it in the vault. But ironically, we're bringing it out now. So we have a iced tea and ginger ale called Chronic Ice.
Nice.
You can Google that, and we've done a lot with that brand. We decided to kind of put it in the vault because we did test runs with Ahold and UNFI, and we were selling through. We couldn't keep it, but at the same time, if you're not capitalized properly
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have the right operators to go in and execute what you need to execute, then you'll fail.
Right.
So well, I see a lot of brands coming into this category, especially in recent time, and it's just about being able to align the right distribution, know your markets, know your customer. I mean, there can only be so many drinks, right?
Mm-hmm.
There can only be so many drinks. You can't choose all these different things, and it's just like the soda category, right? There's Coke, there's Pepsi, there's Sunkiss, there's Fanta. There's so many different drinks. You might only choose a couple, so it all depends. But no, it's a huge category, and it's gonna make a lot of money. And that's the thing about cannabis is a repetitive buy.
Yeah, for sure. What do you see being the biggest changes in the last 3 to 5 years in the industry? You feel like obviously people are more receptive to using it and to talking about it openly. Do you think that in the next 3 to 5 years, what do you have for predictions?
Hopefully, I see it getting better. Actually, the last 3 to 5 years after COVID, the business has been taking a real beating.
Okay.
During COVID, everyone was in the house, so the cannabis market was a lot of people got rich, but um, in the traditional way.
Right. Like
So
black market. Right.
the
Yeah.
street dealers got rich,
Right.
right? And a lot of people that were stuck on the East Coast was flying here to connect with street dealers. There was no real dispensary contact, and a lot of businesses failed. A lot of people's doors closed. They couldn't pay their employees.
Oh,
They couldn't sustain, right? And
right.
so you see a lot of people who been in the business for a while. Some are sustaining, some have had to pivot.
Mm, yeah.
But in the next 3 to 5 years, hopefully, hopefully the real ones survive. I mean, it'll never totally die. You know what I mean? The demand for it is not going anywhere. And I was gonna say, as far as people frowning on cannabis, like everybody in today's society is doing something. They're
Mm-hmm.
taking a weight drug, Ozempic. They're taking, painkillers. They're taking all different type of things,
Right.
besides alcohol. So, cannabis is something that people use in a very social and recreational way, but it definitely has medicinal effects as well. So that's a good thing. So hopefully in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll see a little spike where a lot of business can get back to where they were.
I agree. From your lips to God's ears. I want to give you the floor to talk about anything else that we didn't touch on. I know that you glazed over marathon. What
Hmm.
got you into that restaurant world? Did you ever do that before?
Well, I helped. I was a part of the inception and design and first group when we did Wahlburgers,
Okay.
from for Mark Wahlberg and his family. Before that, we had put a group together, and they did a restaurant for his mother and his brother called Alma Nove, and that was in Hingham, Massachusetts. And from there, his brother Paul, who's a five-star chef, he wanted to develop a burger concept, and Mark wasn't really into it. He was able to convince him, and I helped Mark initially bring that to life, right? And so um, I have a relationship with the family of Nipsey Hussle, and Sam and I began to talk about different things in regards to business, and it was just a timing thing,
Hmm.
and it was just different relationships that I have that I was able to exercise and bring some things to the table, and the relationship's been very compatible, and we're moving forward to larger scale business.
Amazing. And I saw in your stories that you had Mark come there and he was making burgers, which is
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I
so
brought Mark there.
special. That's so
Yeah.
sweet.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys meet? Did you meet in the movies?
No, actually, through his cousin. When Mark first got to LA from Boston, that's been my brother now for like 30 years.
Wow.
So, day one, we've been together ever since. And that's special in itself too, because a lot of times you can you could burn out relationships, believe it or not,
Yeah.
and that's been a real brother, godfather to my daughter.
Wow.
And we've been very giving to each other, and I'm blessed for that relationship because it's led me to a lot of different places in the world and a lot of people that I was able to gain special relationships, and I know that's due to perception and being in the presence of guys like Mark. So yeah, it's been a blessing.
It's amazing. So
Yeah.
cool. I met him once at Total Wine with his Flecha Azul. And he
Oh,
was
okay,
so
cool.
nice.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
down to earth. He was with
for sure.
the partner, Aaron.
Oh,
Aaron.
Aaron?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very kind. That's amazing. And the story about Nipsey Hussle's family. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what a dedication to his memory and to have a legacy live on. I saw the mural. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best with that and hopefully there'll be more to come, right?
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We get up and throw stuff at the wall, we see what sticks.
1000%. And it's important to reach back, right? And like you said, every day is a blessing and you're so
Mm-hmm.
lucky, right, to live another
Mm-hmm.
day. And
For sure.
where you live, there's a lot of action over there. And you shared some stuff with me and you're very lucky, right, that you have been able to get up every day and
Absolutely.
continue to do what you do and touch other people's lives and be involved in all of these different businesses because it's inspirational.
For
And
sure.
and I appreciate you being my cannabis expert because I know nothing. I'm pretending I do. I'm trying to learn. And I want my audience to understand because, like I said, there's no reason for it to have a stigma. It was the same thing with the booze biz. So I'm here to
It's
try to
all
change
it's
it.
all good. I mean, and we can continue the conversation. And there's like I was telling you about Sue Taylor.
Yeah.
That was a lady that again was a high school principal. She frowned upon cannabis for such a long time until it hits home, until you have relatives or people that are hit with certain sicknesses or diseases,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the repercussion of all the medical and pharmaceutical drugs they're taking. It may be helping one thing, but destroying four or five other things in your body.
Right.
You begin to look for alternative ways to help and benefit. And so, what she learned and what she was able to teach, she fell into Oprah's, lap. And Oprah did a couple interviews on Sue and loves Sue. And Sue is, been recognized in the cannabis industry for some time. So, it's always good to hear from different people, right? So you get
Perspectives.
different perspectives from different individuals, you know what I mean? And so anytime that you need me for anything, I have no problem with bringing whoever to the table.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jamal, because like I said, I am just here to try to educate and highlight people that I find to be inspiring. I appreciate you coming on and talking to me and talking
Thank
about
you
all
for
your
having me.
business ventures. And I appreciate you making it happen and sending me my fun drip. I'm a
For
fan.
sure.
And if there's anything else you want to share, or if you want to leave the audience with a message, this is your time to shine.
No, it's just, it's it's a blessing to just be able. And so whatever you believe in, do your best to go get it. And you can't continue to do the same thing and expect a different result.
Mm-hmm.
That's called insanity.
Right.
So it's just like anybody that may have played sports. It's coaching, it's strategy, it's trying different things. You know what I mean? And it's not about how many times you fall. You know what I mean? You have to continue to get up. And so that's how you lead by example.
I love that. I want everybody to follow Jamal. He's at Meezy Worldwide on Instagram and follow Marathon Burgers. And does Kush Boys have an Instagram?
Yes, Kush Boys has an Instagram as well.
And I also want to ask where the name Meezy came from before we end.
That's been my nickname for like over 30 years. So my name is Jamal. So my boys name me Jameezy. So you
Ah,
take the J off and it's just Meezy. So
all
yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
cool. Do you like it? Do you like that nickname?
yeah,
It's good. It's memorable.
yeah.
Well, thanks again, Jamal Meese
Thank you,
Weathers,
Joey.
for being
Yeah.
here. I appreciate you. And
Sipping and selling.
we're sipping and selling. I was just,
All right.
and we'll be smoking soon.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Jamal, for
All right,
being here.
respect. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. See you next
Peace
time.
and gratitude. See you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sipping and Selling.
With Joey Chanel.